everybody, and welcome to Level Unlock Quick Save. It's your host here, your boy, Jimmy Noodles here. Let's talk about all the greatest things to happen in the gaming world this week. Also, before we begin, we're not going to be talking about the PlayStation State of Play. I think we're going to wait until next, or the full podcast, to talk about that one. So let's get right into the news. First thing on the docket today, we have, oh boy, Anthem. Anthem. The game that's probably going to kill BioWare. Well, hey, guess what? During an investors call this past week with EA, they have said that they are not going to be releasing Anthem Next, the big update that was supposed to completely rework the game. That's not going to happen. So Anthem Next is dead in the water. Anthem itself, presumably dead in the water. Not going to happen. No sirree, Bob. So to the 3 people out there that are listening that like Anthem, I'm sorry. Ripperone, Paparone. It's a new month. We're in March. Happy Smarch weather, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for some new games with gold. So this month, I should say, Warface Breakout, Metal Slug 3 are both available right now to claim. And Vala and Vala, which is Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse, and Port Royale will be coming out later this month. So Port Royale is pretty cool. This Warface Breakout is a first-person shooter that was released last year. This is from GameSpot. Yeah. It's a spin-off of the MMO Warface based on Plant the Bomb game mode. Squad-based FPS does not have a ton of content yet, but if you're a fan of the genre, it may be worth checking it out. Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse is a top-down mech shooter in which llamas have caused the apocalypse. It features local co-op for up to 4 players and has a roguelike loop. Each run is different, but yes, llamas stand in your way every time you suit up. That will be free from March 16th to April 15th. And then Metal Slug 3 is the classic SNK run and gun. That's going to be from March 1st through the 15th. And at the latter half of the month, the Pirate Sim Port Royale 3 will be available as well. Next on the docket, we have PlayStation Plus games for March. Lousy smirch weather. This is from PlayStation Blog. So your monthly PlayStation games are going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's a caveat to that. We'll talk about it during the regular podcast. Farpoint, which is the PlayStation VR game. Marquette, which is your PS5 game. And then Remnant from the Ashes will also be the final game for PlayStation Plus members. Sony also announced something cool. So not only are those 4 games going to be free for PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Plus owners, but Sony's Play at Home initiative, which is they did last year. They gave out some free games to tell people to stay the fuck at home because there's still a goddamn pandemic. I'm looking at you, Texas. Stay home. Wear a mask. Don't be a fuck. All right, hey. 4 months of offers are going to be starting today, March 1st. These PlayStation games and entertainment. So the first game that's going to be kicking off, it's going to start in March and extend through June. The first game is Ratchet and Clank. Oh, okay, so actually they have what's going on this month. Okay, so PlayStation Insomniac Games, this is from PlayStation Blog. Ratchet and Clank, the PS4 remake, or reimagining of the reboot? I think it was a reboot. Based off the film, is going to be free to download from the PlayStation Store from March 1st to March 31st. And then also, starting March 25th, Funimation, which is a ex sister or child company of oh man, Windows Defenders found stuff or didn't find anything, which is owned by Sony, is going to give you a bigger free trial. So I do believe extend access to new subscribers to Funimation or Wakanim for the countries that may be available. So I do believe it is going to be. It doesn't say exactly how long it's going to be going on for, but yeah. Oh, on top of a 14-day trial, you get an additional 90 days. Oh wow, that was all in the little fine print there. Last year, during this, we had for the stay-at-home initiative, play-at-home initiative, you got Uncharted Drake's Collection for PlayStation users, except Germany and China, where Germany and China users got Knack 2. Ooh, we know who won out on that one. We'll save that till the end. PlayStation 5. One of the big complaints that I have with my PlayStation 5 is that the storage sucks on it. Absolute trash garbo. Well, now, coming this summer, the internal storage upgrades will be enabled. This is a report according to sources close to Bloomberg, being reported on by IGN. So they state that it is going to be, they're going to unlock it through a firmware update coming this summer. So hey, maybe you'll finally be able to store a video game on there. Maybe you'll finally be able to store the entire Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War saga on there. That'd be neat. Not really. Final Fantasy VII. Well, actually, you know what? We'll probably talk about that during the full podcast because this is stuff regarding Final Fantasy VII. Halo has a television show coming out, going to Paramount Plus in 2022. It's switching from originally being on Showtime to Paramount Plus. So, nothing really new talking about. It's supposed to hit the first quarter of 2022. Nothing really else is known about that. That's from CNET. Thanks, CNET. I guess we'll get to the Final Fantasy VII stuff. Why not? It just saves time for the full cast. Alright, so we had a lot of Final Fantasy VII news come out here this past week because of the Sony State of Play. But one thing that wasn't announced there is, where is it? It is, what's it called? Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier. Now, when you think of Final Fantasy VII, what kind of genre do you think of? Do you think of action RPG, turn-based RPG, tactical RPG, that weird one spin-off of Final Fantasy VII with Dirge Cerberus, where it was a third-person action-adventure game? Well, what if I said Battle Royale? So, Final Fantasy First Soldier is going to be a Final Fantasy VII-based Battle Royale coming to Android and iOS devices this year. It will feature, quote, will feature the kind of gunplay you'd expect from a multiplayer shooter, but the First Soldier antes up with magic spells, Final Fantasy summons, and chocobos on the battlefield. So apparently it's, the story is the Shinra Electric Company is looking to bolster its military forces and develops the Soldier program. Then apparently puts them to the test in big multiplayer fray, which is where First Soldier comes in. So this takes place before the events of Final Fantasy VII, when Shinra is still kind of young and like building up the Soldier program. But yeah, so hey, if you ever wanted to play Final Fantasy VII but have a battle royale, I mean, now you know what's wrong with you. Final Fantasy VII, we also had another announcement coming up. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis will bring the entire Final Fantasy story to your phone. So this is, again, after Sony's State of Play live stream. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Do you remember Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition for mobile phones and Nintendo Switch? It's basically going to be like that, but for Final Fantasy VII and all of the spin-offs. All right, so here's what we got. We got Dirge of Cerberus. Okay, so let's see if it actually lists all the games. Every Crisis would be chapter structure, would be an episodic release. Those out in chunks. Oh, it doesn't say. I don't think it does. It doesn't say. But you get all, and I mean all, of the Final Fantasy games. Not Final Fantasy games, but Final Fantasy 7s. So you got Ever Crisis, which, 2022, doesn't say on this. Oh. Yeah, it's got kind of like a chibi kind of, Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition art style, but it's going to follow the story of Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Before Crisis, Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus, okay, here we go. We got Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Undead Children, Before Crisis, Final Fantasy 7, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7, and Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy 7. And they even did kind of like how it used to. The graphics look way better when you get into combat, at least in the Final Fantasy 7 sake. Yeah, so, hey, if you haven't been able to catch up on your Final Fantasy 7 stuff, you soon will be able to, down in 2022 when it gets released for Android and iOS. It makes me wonder if it's going to get released kind of like the Pocket Edition, if it's going to come to Switch as well. Or if Big Bad Sony's like, no, you're not allowed to. And finally, the last thing that we have on this very short episode is the Pokemon presentation. Hey, everybody, happy Pokemon 25th anniversary. It happened. Pokemon's 25 years old. It makes me feel old. Yeah, so it starts off with the history of Pokemon, talking about the handheld games, the anime, the TCG, some very obscure stuff. And then, hey, let's talk about Pokemon Snap. New Pokemon Snap. All right, we learn a little bit more about it. It's taking place in the Lental region. You got the jungle, desert, and sea areas. Taking a little nod back to Pokemon Snap. Oh, for those who don't know, Pokemon Snap is a on-rails I don't even know how to describe photography game, photo-taking game, I guess. Yeah, you just take pictures of Pokemon. It's a lot of fun. I really liked it growing up. It was originally on the N64. This one taking a little homage to the older things, to the old game. In the old game, there was Surfing Pikachu. Well, this one we have Surfing Alolan Raichu. You're going to have, it looks like there's some night segments. You can play music. You can listen to your sick beats. Maybe Post Malone. Listen to Post Malone sing some Hootie and the Blowfish. You got some Lumium orbs that will light up Pokemon. So, if you throw it at a Charmander, for example, all the flames will turn blue. You got the Pokemon photo decks to count all your Pokemon that you're taking pictures of. Of course, you got a photo editor, and you'll be able to share photos online in the game. And that's coming out April 30th. Then we got Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, or Pokemon Badoops. Someone said that on Twitter, and I just kind of lost it there. It's gonna have it's a complete remake of Diamond and Pearl, which is what the fans wanted. But apparently the fans didn't want that because they're just crybabies. It's going to feature a cute chibi art style in the overworld. It's going to be developed by Laika, who made Pokemon Home, and it's directed by Junji Ida from Laika Inc. and Junji Matsuda, who is from Game Freak, and he was the original director of Diamond and Pearl, and that's coming late 2021. And then the last thing that they announced at it was Pokemon Legends Rcs. So Pokemon Legends Rcs is a brand new game that takes place in the Sinnoh region, so the region from Diamond and Pearl. And it takes place right as people started colonizing it. So you got very antique-looking buildings, very Japanese-inspired, just like the Sinnoh region, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly. You got interesting, like, you all look like ninjas, and not like the Naruto ninjas, but like traditional ninjas, like Legends of Kage ninjas. So it's when the region was starting to be built, it's got wide open world, full 3D overworld, so kind of like with Sun and Moon. Or not Sun and Moon, Jesus. Sword and Shield. It looks like the... oh, fuck, what the hell's the name of it? The area in the middle of Sword and Shield. Where you could just fully roam around, and they had all the Pokemon in the... on the overworld, there was no random encounters or anything like that. It's like that, but it seems like that's going to be the entire game. Now, what's really interesting is that you don't need to go into battle to capture Pokemon. You can actually sneak around a la like Solid Snake and then just yeet these Pokeballs at these unsuspecting Pokemon and just capture them. So that's coming out early 2022, and it's going to be made by Game Freak. You got 3 interesting starters. Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott. And it's your goal to create the first Pokédex. And it's classified as an action RPG, but it seems like it's going to be using the same like turn-based battle style, maybe even a more simplistic version of the turn-based battle style that is in the main games. So that's going to be really interesting to see, and that was probably the thing that excited me the most, because we all know that the Pokemon world is, I want a Pokemon game about the Pokemon Wars that Lieutenant Surge fought in. Give me that, Nintendo. Give me that, Game Freak. I want to see Saving Private Ryan, but with Pokemon. Just give me that, and I'll be a happy boy. I will be a happy, happy boy. So that's it that I have for the week. Hey, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. At JimmyNoodlesGG. If you want to check me out there, see what I'm doing, all that kind of good stuff. Don't forget to also take a look at the podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts. That should be clear because you're fucking listening to it right now. Sorry, I'm like completely out of it today. Don't forget to check out our Patreon if you like our stuff. Go to patreon.com/levelunkpodcast, where you get access to a lot of cool things. One of the things that we did was me and my buddy Mitchell, before we started recording for our Let's Play session, we watched the State of Play and gave a lot of reactions to it. So that video's up on our Patreon, as well as other things like whenever we get around to it, doing our own like typing up little essays and stuff like that, just little things that we think of. So that's always cool. Bunch of different tiers. Don't forget to join. All greatness, and also you get access to our Discord server where you get to hang out with us. So that's pretty neato if you ask me. Also, if you have any questions or anything that you want to email us, go to levelunlockpodcast@gmail.com. We'll make sure to answer it. I don't know. Depending on how many emails we get, that might be like something I do on here or on the podcast. I guess it depends. It depends on how many emails we get. So, for me, we'll see you next time. And for me and everyone at the Level Unlocked Studios, Level Unlocked LLC. God, I'm fucking out of it. You guys have a great morning, evening, afternoon, no matter what time it is where you're listening. Y'all have a good one. And we'll see you next week for the regular show. Bye.